We were driving along a freeway in Death Valley, the hottest and lowest elevation place on land in the world, when my friend exclaimed, "Look, coyotes!" "Where?" I said. "Right over there," as he pulled over. I lowered my window, and to my amazement this coyote trotted right up to my window and waited there patiently for food. Also noticed its partner in the distance. It was 12:02 p.m., and although coyotes are often said to be nocturnal, I've seen them trotting around all over Southern California at all hours of the day. The more timid one in the background appears to have a slight limp and prefers to keep their distance. Perhaps they're a pair? Maybe the female one is the more timid one in the background and the male is the one in the front? I can't tell apart the sexes in coyotes. They've obviously been fed in the past by passerby and either self-domesticated or became domesticated by humans who threw food out of their car windows, much like these two are expecting of me. This was all in huge contrast to this nature documentary I once saw, with a scene in Death Valley wherein coyotes much like these were filmed eating beetles on wildflowers during springtime, and lizards on the rocks, also in the full sun. It's also springtime right now. It's April 26, 2015. These two coyotes are far more tame than many of the dogs I encounter in suburban San Diego. They don't bark, they don't make any noise. In fact, that's why I reduced a lot of the volume on this video, because with all the wind whistling, again, I didn't have a cotton ball on my cell phone microphone. All you hear is wind noise, so I had to tone that down, and I narrated it over. So at this point, you can see the coyote close to me just laying down, like a domestic dog, bored, waiting for its owner to finally do something. And the other one in the background had already done that. Unlike wolves, even captive wolves, that make only fleeting tangential eye contact with humans, these coyotes made direct eye contact with us right from the beginning and didn't flinch when I rolled down my window. At this point, a white SUV came by. There aren't many cars that pass by, and it saw in amazement the same thing, we were looking at, so they stopped maybe 100 meters ahead of us or even further down the road, and both of these coyotes perked up their heads and ears in anticipation of being fed, and they were just checking them out. Coyotes are very skittish, so it's in their nature to constantly have their heads on a swivel and just look left and right to see if anything else is in the horizon. It's almost like they're trying to signal to us and say, "Look, there are no park rangers coming. You can feed us now. There are no witnesses." At this point, I opened my door, which startled the coyote for just a fraction of a second, and I got within 2 meters, and I wanted to see if I could get closer and closer and maybe even touch it, but it started trotting away. They were still skittish after all, and they decided to leave.